Hey everyone, it's Kellen Brauer from Racer X back again with another race examination video, this time from Budds Creek. And really I wanted to talk about in this 250 class the restart rule, because Haiden Deegan, first moto, starts behind Joe Shimoda, gets around him. Beautiful set of passes here, really just kind of squeezing and threading the needle around Shimoda. Shimoda tries to get him back right here, and the Deegan squeezes by. But then the red flag comes out after this at about the halfway point of this race. Hardy Munoz was down really hard, so the red flag displayed so the medics could get on the track and tend to him. So then everyone goes back and kind of hangs out at the gate. And everyone was really confused by why there wasn't a staggered restart, and instead they did a full restart, and there's only 15 minutes of the moto left. And the reason being is there's two different rule books, and this is the AMA Pro Motocross rule. So the restart procedure here in 213B, should a race be stopped after one full lap is complete, the race will be restarted using the original staging positions for that moto. If a race is stopped after two full laps are complete, the riders will be staged based on their positions a lap prior to the red flag. The restart will resume for the time remaining of the 30-minute race. The restart will take place as soon as possible within a maximum time of 10 minutes, providing track conditions allow. There's also a rule below this that says if the race had gone 20 minutes, it would have been called. But this is from the AMA Pro Motocross rulebook, and the staging part of that is gate selection. Now, the confusion was that in the AMA Supercross rulebook, which is a different rulebook, there is a rule about the race being stopped with with 3 laps completed by the leader, but less than 90% of the total race distance completed. And if you go all the way down to B6 on this one, it says riders will be restarted from a staggered standing start in the starting area. But that is, again, in the AMA Supercross rulebook. The difference is there is a completely separate rulebook for AMA Pro Motocross. So why there was confusion there is people thought, oh, they're just going to do the same rule that has happened in AMA Supercross. But that rule doesn't exist in AMA Pro Motocross. There's only the rule about the staging thing, and that all has to do with gate selection. So it goes back to the lap before. Haiden Deegan, leading the race, goes to the gate first, even though he wasn't fastest qualifier, and then there's only the 15 minutes of the moto left. It's unfortunate because if the race had gone 5 minutes longer before the red flag, the race would have been called right there, and Deegan would have been the winner. But then on the restart going into the first corner, Deegan gets into Tom Vial, and he actually said in his own vlog that he thought he was clear coming into the first corner, and at the last second he saw what he said was a KTM swooping in from the outside. It was Vial, so he didn't realize Vial was even that close to getting the whole shot. Late on the brakes, was trying to just get to this inside, hits him pretty good. It stands Vial up. Vial up almost gets into Hunter Lawrence, but Haiden Deegan obviously goes down. Vial gets stood up. So I know it's unfortunate the way that it turned out for Deegan, but this restart rule has existed like this in Pro Motocross for many years. It sounds like they may change it, but that is what the rule is.
I want to remind everybody that this video is presented by OnX Off-Road. Know where to go with the #1 off-road GPS app. Access 500,000 plus miles of trails and roads, open dates, and public lands. Use the code RACERX, that's RACERX, for 20% off when you download the OnX app today.
Moving on to talk about some of the 450 action from Budds Creek, and really wanted to highlight Jett Lawrence in this first moto. When he decided to go to the race lead, was really good and methodical about it, and really what it came down to for him was he was just going everywhere that the riders in front of him were not. And in this situation, he was not following Aaron Plessinger in any of the lines in order to make this pass. Swooped around the outside, turns into the inside in this one, and then again swoops into the corner just to block the line off and be able to take the lead. This right here, this pass as well, was so good. Not much talked about it, but he's going to land outside of all the ruts right here. So he's got to cross back into the rut that he wants to get to block Plessinger's line. Just kind of banks off of this like lone little notch into the corner, stands it back up, gets on the throttle. But this theme, I felt like in the first motos particularly, was really strong throughout, where riders were trying to go in a line that was not, following the rider in front of them and forcing an issue. They were just going to go outside and make the pass like Dylan Francis did later here in the moto. And I feel like Budds Creek is very common with that tactic. Now, as we move into the second 450 class motos, Chase Sexton is all over Jett Lawrence for the race lead right here. 18 minutes to go, gets over the front of the motorcycle and lays it down, and we're going to see a replay here of it in a second. But really what this boiled down to for Sexton was loss of balance, which has been kind of the key thing that goes on with his crashes. Last week at Unadilla, it was the rear end kicking out, and so he has too much weight on the front. The front end starts to slide. He does a double slide. This situation, he's going to go over this roller. The front of the bike kind of dives in, and his head just is over the front of the bars too much. So as we come down this hill right here, you're going to see it's going to really kind of stop pretty hard right here. And then as it lands, he doesn't have that forward drive. And so he's just going to have the front over, nowhere to go, and it just tips over and falls back behind Lawrence. So now Lawrence, late in the moto, sees Sexton is coming because Sexton was absolutely flying throughout this entire moto, caught him again on the final lap of the race, and is putting all kinds of pressure on him. And I really wanted to highlight this last lap because I feel like a lot of people have said, oh, Jett's had it easy, Sexton's made it easy on him. I feel like there's been maybe 5-6 different motos this year where Chase has done this late race, close push, get it on to try to make this pass. And this is a really tough thing to defend if you're the race leader, especially if you've had a gap for a little bit of time to wick it back up on this last lap and be able to charge. And you don't think Jett Lawrence is pushing? Watch him come into this corner. He's going to blow over this inside rut and just does not let off. The rear tire slides out of it, and then he's just on the gas all the way until he hits it in a banking and keeps going, keeps the throttle pinned. Jett Lawrence wants to go perfect this season. He's got 2 motos left to get it done. Chase Sexton has made it pretty tough on him the last few rounds, and it seems like he's going to try to do it again this weekend at Ironman, and Ironman is also a good racetrack for Chase. But I mean, Chase was throwing everything he could at Jett at this round here at Budds Creek, and like I said, Ironman a good track for him, but also a good track for Jett Lawrence. So does Jett go perfect? We're about to see coming up this weekend.